Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another Hammer Productions night. Tonight, I will be reviewing The Lost Continent, released in 1968. Directed by Michael Carreras. Written by Carreras under the name Michael Nash. Based on the novel Uncharted Seas, written by Dennis Wheatley. Starring Eric Porter, Hildegard Knef, Suzanna Leigh, Tony Beckley, Nigel Stock, Neil McCallum, Dana Gillespie, Ben Carruthers, and Michael Ripper. So, this is, for as great a cast as this has in it, and it does, it has some really good actors in here that I have enjoyed immensely in other films away from this film. Not so much in this film. This has to have the most unlikable group of characters I have ever seen grouped together in a long while. Eric Porter, who I absolutely loved in the film Hands of the Ripper, is not very likable as this captain character on this ship. Now, as the movie progresses, he does show some of that charisma that he showed in The Hands of the Ripper, but it's unfortunate that they cast such a good, charismatic actor in here and had him playing such an unlikable character. Hildegard Knef is the same way with her character of Ava. She's just not very likable. And I enjoyed her pretty good in the remake of Svengali as Trilby, even though I thought she was a little too old to be playing Trilby in that film. But her performance was pretty damn good in that film. And here she's good, but her character is written as this. And much like Eric Porter, she does get time to become a little bit more likable later in the film. But, man. And then we have Suzanna Leigh, who I absolutely adored and loved in Lust for a Vampire. And in here, she has none of that. I mean, she's probably sexier in this film than she was in Lust for a Vampire. But her character is just a complete bitch. And I guess it's a sign of her as a good actress that she's able to play that kind of a character. But come on. Don't make the whole cast in your film completely unlikable. Characters that you don't relate to, don't care about, so that whenever people start getting killed in here, you don't give a shit about any of them, you know? Nigel Stock plays Susanna's character of Unity's father in here. And much like her character, he's got nothing. So when that moment comes, when he is killed and dies, you don't care. You don't care. And that's a shame, because this is the guy that played Watson alongside Peter Cushing in the TV series of Sherlock Holmes, and he was very good as Watson, I thought. But yeah, he's just not given much to do in this. And his character is just not very likable. Then you have Tony Beckley as the character of Harry, and I immediately recognized him and couldn't figure out for the whole movie who he was and why I recognized him. And then about midway through the film, I finally realized this is the stranger from the original When a Stranger Calls. This is the killer in When a Stranger Calls. that kind of changed things with him. He was playing a really just a drunken character, and he's a real son of a bitch in here. He just doesn't give a shit about anybody. All he cares about is, getting drunk, and and especially when shit hits the fan, then he's just worrying about, yeah, well, fine, let the whole world go to hell. I'll just drink myself to death, And about midway through, they try to do a character arc for him where he starts to try to get off the booze, after he inadvertently causes the death of Nigel Stock's character, of Dr. Webster. Much like Porter and Knef, too little too late, I think. I don't really care about any of these characters. In fact, I don't even know the name of the actor that played him, but I think the most likable character in this whole damn movie was probably this bartender character, who was probably that, like I said, he's probably the only likable character in this whole thing. And that's a shame, because you should have made your characters in this film more likable. That way, when the bad guys show up and start to off you guys, I have somebody to root for. I didn't have that in this. I could have cared less. Dana Gillespie plays a character named Sarah who pops up about, I would say, midway into the film. And even though she's very attractive, and her character is not portrayed as a complete insufferable character, because she shows up so late in this film, there's not much to her character-driven. She's trying to help her people that have been stuck on this lost continent all this time. But hell, we don't even see any of the innocent people that she's talking about that she's coming from. We see the people that are suppressing them, but we don't see any of the people that she's from in here. I don't know about the novel Uncharted Seas by Dennis Wheatley. I don't know if this novel is a really good novel, much like his To the Devil a Daughter and The Devil Rides Out novels. But this adaptation of it, it didn't do much for me. So my final review of The Lost Continent from 1968. I am going to give this film a 7.2 out of 10. I mean, you've got great actors in this, and they're putting on performances, but they're not very likable performances. So it is pretty much a really horrid affair watching some of these characters throughout this thing. But have you seen this film? If you have, what do you think of The Lost Continent? Do you agree with my review? Do you disagree? Let me know in those comments down below. And as usual, if you enjoyed this review, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell icon so you can be notified about future videos just like this one. And while you're by the subscribe button, click that join button and become a Dark Knight fan. As a member of Dark Knight Fans Plus, you will have the opportunity to request your own reviews for either a movie or a television series on this channel. And when I do that review, it will go exclusively on Dark Knight Films Plus. And then eventually it will become a video on the channel officially. But on top of that, you have our Dark Knight Films library on there, where we have multiple films, TV shows, interviews, behind the scenes, audio commentaries, featurettes. A lot of content on there. So if you are on the fence about it, now might be the good time to become a Dark Knight fan.
Well, that's it for another Hammer Productions night. If you missed last week's Hammer Productions night, check out the link up here to get caught up on that one. Or if you missed any of the other Hammer Productions night, be sure and check out the playlist right here to get caught up on any of them that you have missed.